The initial impetus for developing the program at WES was that Canada had accepted almost 47,000 Syrian refugees, and we felt that as a mission-driven organization, we needed to demonstrate a leadership role in reducing barriers and getting these Syrian refugees back into the workforce. They'd already gone through a lot of trauma, leaving their country, being in camps, and we knew that many were highly skilled professionals. And so we knew what expertise we had, and we felt that we needed to design a program that would enable them to get some kind of documentation so they could start contributing to their chosen country, and also basically build their confidence so they could settle in a really smooth manner.
The WES Gateway program started in July of 2016, and we began the program as we were seeing a big need within the community. We were seeing large numbers of refugees arriving, many of them with higher education that couldn't get access to authenticated documents, so couldn't take advantage of our regular credential evaluation services. So at that time, we wanted to see how we could help and what we could do. And so we undertook, at that time, a program called the Refugee Pilot Project. And that project was really a project where we tested a method to see if we could provide an evaluation of their academic credentials that would be accepted by those making decisions on the recognition process. So colleges, universities, regulatory bodies, employers. And so that was what the project was about, was to see how we could help the situation so that those individuals would be able to regain and reaccess their careers once they had landed here in Canada and had come to Canada. In terms of the project itself, we knew that it was going to be something different for us. Our reputation is built on authenticating documents, and so that's something that we wouldn't be able to do in this case. So we had to take a very specific and very careful approach to this. And so one of the key features is we decided to work with referral partners in this project. We thought it was very important to have trusted community agencies work with us in this so that we could find the right people for this project. It's not a service for everyone. It's a service for those who really struggle to get proof of their academic credentials. And so we felt that that was a really critical piece in making sure we were able to bring folks into the program. But it also meant that we could provide additional service and support to those people as they were pursuing their careers. It was also important as we set up the program to work with those who were going to be accepting the reports that we produce and to have their input from the start. So that was also another key feature. A great deal of research went into this program before we even began, and a lot of consultation with the colleges and universities and regulatory bodies and employers, as well as our partners. What we learned in the first pilot was that this was a program that we could replicate in other communities. In fact, we heard from many of the partners that we worked with in the initial pilot program that we often have requests for including other individuals and other groups who are also struggling to get access to documentation. And so we took a break from the first pilot and did a lot of evaluation. And through that evaluation, really realized that we had built up a lot of knowledge through that first pilot, and that we felt that we were confident to be able to replicate that process with other communities. So our research team did a lot of research into other communities facing challenges where there were large numbers of displaced people. We did a lot of looking at our internal database and systems to see what other countries we felt that we had, where we were comfortable that we felt we were going to be able to do and apply the same rigor and the same methodology to these countries. And we ultimately expanded. When we launched the WES Gateway program in October this past year in 2018, we decided to expand it to include now 7 countries. So we're now accepting individuals, displaced individuals who can't get access to authenticated documents from I'll see if I can list them all, from Afghanistan, from Eritrea, from Iraq, from Syria, Turkey, the Ukraine, and Venezuela now.
With our pilot project, we started with 7 agencies, and diverse agencies. So we had a licensing body like chartered accountants. We basically had community agencies and settlement agencies. We even had a community church. And so we started with a group of small agencies. And basically the impact has been that not only did these agencies say to us, one of the individuals said to us, that basically this program has given dignity back to their client, which was very empowering for us to understand that our program was making a difference. But generally, the other impact on agencies generally has been that as a result of our second part of the program, which is the Gateway program, we've had a number of organizations approach us and said that they want to partner with us because they also feel that they can contribute to the empowerment of these refugees.
In terms of what makes this program effective for us is really the partner and the stakeholder engagement. That has been a critical piece of the development of the program, whether from the learning that we did going into the program and speaking to our partners around the world and learning from them in terms of how they approach this, to the placement of our referral partners and working with referral partners who have trusted in relationships with these individuals in the communities and can draw in the people that need this program most and can work with them then to support them in meeting their career goals. That's made this program very effective, their role. And of course by engaging those who use our reports, the colleges, the universities, the regulatory bodies and employers, by engaging them in the creation and development of this program as well, we've been able to create a product that's useful for them. Technology has also played a huge role for us in creating our efficiency. In this, as we've expanded the Gateway program, the WES Gateway program, from the initial pilot to now, we've built everything into our regular systems. And so that means everything is mobilized by technology. Our partners are able to go into a WES Gateway portal and guide the applicants who are receiving the applications through a process to determine their eligibility. They're able then to input their information into our system so that all their record is filled out and it walks them through in an easy step. So we receive all the information that we need through that process. It moves into our back-end process and through all the steps of our evaluation, very seamlessly and very much like our regular files do, which just creates so many efficiencies in our program. And then for the people, those recipients of those reports, those who are working and are partnering with us have an Access WES account, so they can actually go in and get the report right out on the other end. It's so quick. They can also see what documents were submitted. They can also get information through that portal on our methodology. So everything comes through the system in a very seamless process. And even our training with our partners, because our partners are around the country, we do webinars to deliver our training. We do online meetings with our partners. So this program is very much technology enabled, but of course also using our partners to create that efficiency as well. Well, it was important for us when we started to set up an evaluation framework for how we were going to evaluate the program, and we did that in consultation with our partners and stakeholders, as well as internally with WES staff. And we are fortunate here at WES to have a research department as well, and so they were able to help us in terms of identifying the questions that we wanted to be looking at and what we needed to look at, both in terms of our internal systems, but in terms of the applicant experience, in terms of our partners' experience, and ultimately the experience of those who are using the reports to make their decisions. And so so setting that up was important, and we've approached that in a number of ways. So we do surveys with our applicant clients. We've built it into our automated system so that at the time of application, at the time of receiving the report, and then 6 months and a year down the line, we're able to follow that individual and ask questions at the relevant time. But we also do qualitative interviews as well with the individuals using the program, as well as those universities and colleges and regulatory bodies and employers, to understand how this is working for them and to get their input and feedback as well. So that was very important to us. But really, when we look at outcomes, we're trying to see if the individual is able to be successful in using these reports, but also are those who are using these reports to make decisions, is this helpful? And so when we did our evaluation on the pilot, we were really encouraged to see that over 50% of those who had come into the program intended to use the reports for accessing college and university, and in fact 3/4 of those who did had reported to us that they got through the admissions phase. Those who used the reports, 1/3 of them said they were going to use the reports for accessing licensing and to access a licensed profession and go through a regulatory stream, and of those 84% said that they had passed the initial screen of their documents. And then for employment, 60% of those who were intending to use the report for employment shared with us that they had received interviews, and so they were in that stage. So we were very encouraged by that those who were using the reports were having them recognized, and that's what it's ultimately about for us. We hear from clients all the time how much this means to them, that they have a tool that they can use to pursue their goals, their educational goals, and their career goals. We're encouraged when we hear their stories and their outcomes. We also are encouraged when we hear those who approach us and say, can we bring this to other countries, and where they're sharing and asking as well for this service to be available in other countries, because I think that also speaks to the support that's there from our applicant clients. But I think when we hear from our clients and what it means to them and how this is really clearing a barrier to them being able to access their future, we're struck by how often it's about what this means personally to them, and being able to restore sort of their hope and their dignity and the belief that they can access their profession again.
It wasn't that easy, but I was determined to settle here in Canada. So that means you need to find a job. So the first job I found was a general labor in a warehouse. I looked for other jobs, and I was lucky to find a job with the TTC. And that job where WES role kicked in. I needed WES to have my credentials to be evaluated, because it was one of the requirements to be hired. The difficult part is not having the credentials. I mean, the physical diploma, it's not it's not with me. I mean, we had to flee Iraq with nothing. I mean, barely our main items. I had to ask my friends and my family back at home to help me obtain the diploma. But remember, I was graduated in 1982. Many things happened in the country ever since. It took them 4 months to find my diploma. So once I got the diploma in my hand, the physical diploma, I submitted immediately to WES to help me having it evaluated. However, WES, they accepted my application, but later on they advised that they had to send it back to Iraq, to the Ministry of Education, to have it verified. I waited and waited for a response from the ministry to verify the status of this diploma. I didn't know what to do. I was really confused, and I was sharing my concerns with all my contacts, with my friends. One of them, however, she said, sometime back, a lady from WES came to us, and she said that WES have introduced a new program called Gateway. This program is especially designed for people from certain countries who are having challenges and difficulties obtaining their diploma from back there, from their home. She sent me the link. I opened the link, applied. Of course, I needed to apply through one of WES partners. In my case, it was Access Employment. And in a matter of less than 1 week, I got the diploma evaluated. And immediately, of course, I didn't wait longer. I submitted the credentials, evaluated the credentials to TTC. And I immediately the documentation was complete. I was accepted. I was on board. And now I'm waiting for my training to start with TTC next week.
So why I believe that Gateway is a unique program, and what are some of the unique features that make this program very different? I would suggest that there are 3 different components. Firstly, our referral partners were diverse in nature and were there to provide the end-to-end support services. So whereas what WES normally used to do is have applicants go online and basically go through the process, this is the first time where we built a program in partnership with diverse agencies that would have provided end-to-end services from the time basically understanding whether they had the language proficiency or the professional qualifications, referring people to WES. We would do the assessment that would go back to the agency. So it was what I would call wraparound services with a diverse number of organizations. The second unique feature is really where WES took a risk. We generally only accept basically documents that are authentic and are not duplicate copies. In this case, we had to recreate the documents, and that was a risk for us from a reputation perspective. And so we tested a new model where, on the basis of what agencies told us and basically what we know of individuals and the interviews that took place and what we knew of the countries that they were coming from, we were able to reconstruct a document that was being accepted by other organizations that were the decision makers, like licensing bodies. So that was a new methodology and very unique in terms of a feature. And then thirdly, basically from a reputation perspective, because WES had done something that was very different, we started getting invited by other countries to come to conferences to talk about this particular program, because they realized how unique the situation was in terms of what we were doing, the methodology that we use, and the partnership that we had developed. So that's what's been really exciting about this, is that it was working outside of the box, using a new and innovative concept, and it was successful.
I think in closing, in terms of the WES Gateway program, I think one of the things that I would want to say about it is this is really a program that takes a village. This is a whole community response, and it's a program that has really meant that everyone in the recognition process has a role and has played a role. And that is something that we're so proud of at WES. It's something that we're so grateful for at WES as well, that so many have joined us in collaborating in this project to make it a reality.